From Bangladesh context, I will try to highlight the synergies between National Adaptation Plan, NDC, SDG, and Sendai Framework. SDG, Sendai Framework, and the Paris Agreement has established a firm foundation for the coherent implementation of the climate action, disaster risk management, and sustainable development objectives at all levels. Development efforts must be resilient to the impact of climate change and the related disaster risk in order to be sustainable alignment involve looking at the different agenda with common objective and finding synergies, ensuring full alignment and coordination effort to achieve SDG, Paris Agreement, and Sendai Framework is critical to maximize the benefits. However, for all these three agendas, there are some country-level commitment as well. For SDG, requires strategies for achieving the SDG which identify country-specific target and indicator and outline action to achieve the agreement. Nationally determined contribution which communicate individual countries' contribution to meet the global goal of the Paris Agreement. National Adaptation Plan process are national process to identify medium and long-term adaptation needs and development strategy to address them. National DRR strategies outline national strategies that include targets, indicator, and time frame and are aligned with the recommendation of the Sendai. And however, there are benefits for the aligning these all three very important international documents as it needs to improve for the adaptation result, efficiency, and coherence across the international agenda. It also helps to increase access to resource to prioritize action which can help to meet objective of this three technical international agenda. Sharing of climate risk data and information can help in climate vulnerability and risk assessment. From efficient consultation processes using existing planning and consultation mechanism combining stakeholders agreement process. However, from a country like developing country like Bangladesh, there are challenges as well. Like from institutional perspective, there is a challenge related with policy process led by different government department and ministry. From the context of support, we do have challenge related with different funders with different agendas and expert result. From the resource availability side, there are also crises related with available human, financial, and technical resource. And last but not the least, most importantly, there are also coordination fatigue. So, moving with this context, if you focus on what's the current Bangladesh country preparedness and context, right now the NDC of Bangladesh and its linkage with SDG and Sendai framework is very clear and glaring. Though Bangladesh yet to adopt NAP for the adaptation, however, NDC of Bangladesh, there are a number of climate action for adaptation, which is also recognized as sustainable development goal and covered under the Sendai framework. For example, Global Goal 1 and 2 of the SDG, which talks about end poverty and zero hunger in all its forms, everywhere is number one goal of SDG. Similarly, NDC of Bangladesh listed enhanced adaptive capacity of communities through development gains and improved well-being. Goal 3 of the SDG is to ensure healthy lives, promote well-being for all. Goal 6 is about clear water. NDC of Bangladesh cover health and water security under social protection and livelihood. Goal 9 of SDG talk about building resilience infrastructure. NDC of Bangladesh pledged to build climate resilient infrastructure to address adverse impact of climate change. Ensuring sustainable cities and communities is incorporated in Goal 11 of SDG. Ensure livable city while lowering greenhouse gas emission is one of the mitigation object of Bangladesh NDC. The 7 global targets such as substantially reduce the number of affected people, sustainably increase the availability and access to multi-hazard early warning system, and the 4 priorities of action under the Sendai framework are also well reflected in NDC of Bangladesh as a priority sector of adaptation. Especially under the disaster management, which is focused on improved early warning system for tropical cyclone, flood, flash, and drought, disaster preparedness and construction of flood and cyclone shelter, tropical cyclone and storm surge protection, inland monsoon flood proofing and protection, climate resilience, infrastructure, and communication. So in a nutshell, we can say like the climate action communicated in NDC of Bangladesh are in various ways aligned with SDG, and that gives rise opportunity to secure effective integrated implementation of both NDC and SDG at national level. However, new approaches need to be developed to mobilize efficiency and distributed resource for successful implementation of NDC. If we see a little bit about the current preparedness of Bangladesh, Bangladesh already has existing quite a good chunk of policies that can actually help to implement all these targets that's related with SDG and Sendai framework. See, you can see like there is a list of policies and action plan which are very much focused and then cover all the areas of SDG and Sendai framework. And among them, I would like to highlight Bangladesh NDC Implementation Roadmap 2018, which very recently adopted, and it's very much highlighted the adaptation part of NDC, so that it can be implemented properly. But unfortunately, we are yet to adopt NAP. So we didn't start the process for NAP. Hopefully soon the process will be started so that there can be a smooth landing in terms of implementation. For NDC and NAP, we already established an institution, though the institution yet to be functioned, but this is the overall institutional structure that we recently established. Considering all this policy context and everything, Bangladesh government is very much committed to implement NDC and to achieve SDG goal and target under the Sendai framework. However, there are challenges as well. Challenges especially related to the coordination among different ministries, departments, and civil societies. As I said, NAP is yet to be adopted, and there is also challenges related with financial and technical support, because the NDC roadmap didn't clearly spell out how the financial and technical support will be actually streamed. And loss and damage, though it's not the term loss and damage is not within the existing policy framework, but it's very much in conceptual stage, which we also need to be implemented effectively. So yeah, that's the overall linkage and current context of Bangladesh. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for all three presenters from Sri Lanka, Nepal, and Bangladesh. Wonderful presentations being done. There's some good news to you, ladies and gentlemen. At this stage, I was told by the organizers there are no discussants for this session. So we have a little bit of time for question and answer session. Well, starting from me first, from the chair, I take the liberty to ask the first question. Well, coordination fatigue is a term that we heard quite repeatedly every time. And that's something, although the same term did not come up into life, that was what discussed in the previous sessions as well. Sri Lanka, take Sri Lanka for example. In the climate change scenario, the Minister of Environment started having an interministerial coordinating committee meeting twice a year for the last 3 years. Then it changed finally because we identified that it's not the secretaries who are supposed to take part in the discussions. They are not the ones who are taking part in the meetings. So then the name changed. We started calling it Interagency Coordinating Committee. We still find the same problem. Every meeting, there are new faces. You start from square one at every meeting. So coordination fatigue is there, and definitely it's a mess on one hand sometimes. So can I ask first from these three eminent people on the head table, any novel ideas? Start from Oscar.
Yeah, I think, again, what I mentioned, the duplication would be the issue. So the more you have coordination mechanisms, the more the same people have to attend the same thing, and that becomes a problem. But I think, so two things. One is that you need people who can make decisions coming into these meetings. So that's the importance of having secretaries or decision makers who have the power to commit to something getting into the meeting. So having an integrated system where now that SDGs, Sendai framework, all that is relevant could be under one system would be the way to move ahead in cutting time of meetings and also moving forward efficiently. Otherwise, avoiding duplication, trying to find finances, as well as trying to find people to attend all the meetings is a common issue that we have.
From Bangladesh context, currently within the ministry, it's still not very much in a planning process. We are thinking to have a separate secretary, especially for climate change, because now the issues are getting very, very big, and it also started to involve all other ministries and other departments. So to have a good coordination within the government and agencies, so Bangladesh government is thinking to have a separate secretary. I don't know whether it will be happen anyway, but that's the very planning process, and I believe that can make a good difference.
Thank you. In Sri Lanka, there's a discussion to have climate change commission, almighty climate change commission. It's still a discussion. Let's see how it goes on. How about Nepal?
Well, in case of Nepal, if you look into the SDGs roadmap or SDG implementation strategy, there are 3 different mechanisms established. And then one is chaired by the Prime Minister. It's a council. It's a overall overarching institution or coordination mechanisms. And there is one by the expert and one led by the NPC member, the member of the National Planning Commissions, and it involves the thematic ministries as well. And that's for the SDGs. And for the disaster, they have another mechanisms. And for the climate change, of course, there is another mechanism. It's a multi-stakeholder climate change initiative coordination committee. It involves all the sectors, all the private agencies, private sectors, the NGOs, INGOs, donor agencies, and even all the ministries. So then the problem here is always with the coordination issues, and that's why the coordination fatigue. And to deal with that, Nepal government also come up with the idea of climate change focal point in each of the ministries. But then there is a problem with the decision-making process as well. So those people who are representing in that, who are representing as a climate change focal point, may not be the same people from each of the ministry or from the same hierarchical level. So one people from one ministry can have the decision-making power, and they can go and fit into the process of the decision-making of within that ministry. But then some other people may not have. If officer comes, then they have to go and pursue the boss and then come up with the idea of integration, something like that. So that's the problem with that aspect as well. So it needs to be sorted out, and then there's a kind of discussion going on in Nepal as well, whether to have that anchor the climate change and the SDGs and DRR issues with the higher authority level, maybe led by the Prime Minister's office, so that they can release or note or request all the sectoral ministries to follow these things, and then there can be a chances of more of integration or finding linkages within all these 3 sectors and sort it out the coordination fatigue that is existing in the world.
Thank you very much. One thing we can be happy that at least in this part of the world, the problems are common. We can be happy about that. Yeah.
Just to follow up, since you made some comments, I thought just to add that when we're doing the readiness proposals for Green Climate Fund to do NAPs now, one of the main things that we focus on is mandates for coordination and the preparatory one, because the ones who have the NAPs have faced this difficulty. So to avoid it, the mandate comes in, and also we shouldn't be stepping on certain thematic entities. The mandate needs to clearly say who's doing what, but in a way that we can coordinate. An example we can look into is the Indonesian example, where they have something called Run Up, which focuses on development priorities and linking anything and everything to that, so that the economic priorities, social priorities all have a notion of it, and the evaluation will come under the Run Up. So just an example, it's not perfect, but something to look into to see what works and what doesn't when we want to see integration approach.
Thank you very much, everyone. Okay, the floor is open for discussion now. Any questions, comments from the audience? Are we trying to achieve 0, 100 now or what?